program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
Welcome to Steer the Line, where every Friday we give you NFL analysis, fantasy football breakdowns, and sports betting previews. I'm Christian Giordani, joined alongside Loud Esmond and Rocky Giordani. Now let's get ready to Steer the Line. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another segment of Steer the Line. I'm your host, Christian Giordani, alongside my co-host, Loud Esmond. And we have two special guests along with us. Loud, you want to take that away for us?
Yeah, so, everybody knows that although my heart is still often in inland Southern California, that I moved to a rural part of Washington State so my wife could be closer to her family a number of years ago. Of course, I was in Fresno this week. I was in the Inland Empire the week before that. So I am all over the state of California still, but I live in the Pacific Northwest. And here in Washington State, the only place that you can bet legally is not online. You have to actually bet in a casino sports book physically, or at least on the property. And that's the place that I bet is a sports book called Little Creek Casino Sportsbook. I have several to choose from. That's one of the things about Washington State. There are casinos all over the place. There's got to be 50 of them. And they are everywhere. In fact, I have one that's much closer to me. I have another one's about equidistant, a couple of bigger ones that are about 15 minutes further away. But Little Creek, I find to be the nicest place to bet. There can be a line, but it's never as long as some of the bigger books, and they're friendly. They're personable people at the window, and I appreciate that. It'd be a great place if you're learning sports betting to start out. Some of the bigger places, man, if you come up to the window and you don't quite know what you're doing, they might bark at you, but not at Little Creek Casino Sportsbook. So let me introduce Scott Keyport. He's the sportsbook manager there at Little Creek. Scott, great to have you on this show for the first time.
Thank you, Loud. Thanks, Christian. Yeah. Well, I think that was a really nice way of saying our sportsbook is run and staffed by a bunch of degenerate gamblers, and we like talking about sports. I think that was a way to say that. I appreciate it.
And then Tom Macrina is on the Winners and Winers, Picks and Parlays. You can see his stuff there. Man, we love about Tom, he brings the analysis and the stats as the Mets score more runs as we're watching this game take place. So great to have you on the show, Tom. It's been an extremely busy week for me. I can go over what I did last week really quickly. So I had the Bills -2 at the Jets. I got that. Bengals, I had the Giants plus 3.5. I think Tom did 2. Unfortunately, we're wrong on that one. A bunch of other bets earlier in the week went pretty well. Bears money line -130. Jaguars, Commanders, Ravens over 51.5. Buccaneers -3 at Saints, and Lions -3 at Cowboys all hit. I missed on the Broncos Chargers under 35.5. That is last week's results. Now we're on to this week, because we don't live in the past. We live in the present. So Tom, let's start with you. Do you have any take on either of the two huge college football games tomorrow? Alabama, of course, has a huge game, and Texas has a huge game against Georgia.
Yeah. So I have a take on both of them. This is actually a stacked. We have plenty of marquee matchups this weekend. It's going to be a great Saturday. Plenty of stuff to watch. But I guess we'll start with Georgia, Texas. I feel like Texas is the best team in football right now. And then you get a team like Georgia coming in. Texas really hasn't faced a offense like Georgia. So I feel like we're going to see a lot of scoring here. We know Texas can score, so that's not going to be a problem. Georgia has been putting up points all season, and I like Georgia and Texas to go over.
And what's the number there?
We have it at 5 right now.
No, I mean he's got the
Oh.
over. So what's the
Oh,
over?
the over
56.5.
56. Yeah.
All right, so we're talking 34 points by each team. No, I'm sorry. I'm bad at math. Scott, you tell me. At 56.5, what is it like? 28?
24, 23, something like that.
Yeah,
Would be
28.
we expect at least one of these teams to flirt in the 30s, and I think the other team will be close to it.
Yeah. And if
Okay,
any,
but
any
that
sort of
is
overtime on
despite-
that.
That is despite the fact, Tom, that Georgia has that ferocious defense. You think that Texas is still going to score points on them?
Right. I don't know that Georgia's defense is the same defense we've seen in the last 4 or 5 years from them. I still
Right,
think
that
they're a
seems-
good defense. I don't think they're elite.
That seems to be a theme that we're seeing a lot. And by the way, that is a mistake that square bettors make. And if you're not, if you're new to sports betting, your square better means somebody who is a square as opposed to a sharp. And that means somebody who doesn't really know that much about what they're doing. And that's the people that the sports books make their money on. What's the saying, Scott? If somebody comes in and they're betting on the name on their sweatshirt, you're not worried?
I am not worried. If they are betting for college, then I am not worried for it. Yeah.
Right. There you go. All right. So Tom is on the over in the Texas-Georgia game. Alabama, Tennessee. Now, this is going to be interesting. There has been a lot of talk in Alabama on talk radio and fan forums that they're not quite sure that Kalen DeBoer is the right guy anymore after he dropped that game to Vandy, and then they almost lost last week, Tom. If they drop this game to Tennessee, that's going to be a huge, huge story. What do you think? Does Tennessee have a chance of beating Alabama?
I think they have a chance. I like Alabama's chance of winning this game better. Both teams have really had problems since Alabama beat Georgia. They lost to Vanderbilt. Then after that, South Carolina. I think they won by 2. So they didn't really look good. This defense just disappears sometimes. And that could be a problem against Tennessee. Tennessee, same thing. I think the defense is good.
Not if the defense disappears for Alabama, it's not possibly a problem. It's a huge problem because Tennessee scores fast.
Yeah, well, Nico has had problems recently too. Since their start, he hasn't been too great either.
All right, so the take on that game from you, Tom, is what is your best bet?
All right, so I think Kalen DeBoer after the bye week is going to have his team ready to play here. I like Alabama.
And what's the spread on that, Scott?
We have that one at. Sorry about that.
That's all
We
right.
have that at right now. 3. We have it at 3 right now.
All right, so it is Texas minus. I'm sorry, what am I saying? It is Alabama minus 3.
Yeah,
Yep.
Alabama minus 3.
Okay.
And that looked like
Boy,
it moved to
I-
that a little bit. So I don't think it'll go past the 3. I don't know if it'll come back down. So I think that's going to be probably set right there.
It's the end of the 8th inning. Mets 12, Dodgers 6 going into the 9th. All right. So let's talk about some NFL. Last night, well, I made a list, and I talked about this with Tom. I like making my list of teams that suck against the spread and teams that are good against the spread. Right now, the teams that I'm absolutely fading against the spread include the Jaguars, the Titans, the Browns, the Raiders, and the Saints, who, by the way, oh my God. Did you see in the stadium last night that people were putting the bags over their heads again, Tom? Oh
I did.
God. Oh, no.
Post Drew Brees.
And you know what? I feel terrible. I really like Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is a great guy. I was teaching a class in Fresno where he went to Fresno State. All this week, I was teaching law enforcement communications classes in Fresno, and there were all these people that had met Derek Carr, that liked Derek Carr. The backup quarterback on New Orleans, not Spencer Rattler, but the other guy that they brought in towards the end, Hayner, he went to Fresno State. The Saints come out in the first two games and they look like a juggernaut. And then their center goes down. Their right guard goes down. Their left guard goes down. Their right tackle goes down. The backup center goes down. The backup right guard goes down. Derek Carr goes down. Taysom Hill goes down. Their middle linebacker goes down. And then last night, the best corner on their team broke his leg. They are absolutely screwed. Devastated. I can't imagine. They're 2-5. What a disaster. The Raiders, what more needs to be said? They just suck out loud. The Browns, they're going to be living with what's his ass at quarterback for God knows how long. The Titans, what on their team do you like? And oh my God, the Jaguars, they're going to have to blow that thing up at the end of the season, right, Tom?
Yeah, they certainly have problems, the Jaguars. I don't know what Doug Peterson's doing. I guess he lost the team. But this team every year has talent, and they do nothing with it. Yeah, and they go to England every year, and it didn't look good last week. It really hasn't looked good at all this season. And I think once again, the Jags might have to start over again.
All right, so let's talk about some NFL picks. The first game, obviously, you have another London game. Do you have any feelings on the London? Oh, wait, no, before we go there, Scott,
Yes.
What are the betting trends in the two big college games, the Alabama and Alabama, Tennessee, and Texas, Georgia? What are you seeing?
On those in our book, the Alabama Tennessee game is pretty evenly split. It's favoring Alabama a little bit.
And that's on the point spread
and money line. Ticket count handle. It's pretty even. The over is always a big favorite. You know, anybody, if you're an Alabama fan or a Tennessee fan, you think your team's going to score 1 million points, so you're going to bet the over. For the Texas Georgia game, our money line handle is really, really heavily favored for the Texans, but the point spread is a little more even. So it looks like, and I think that line moved a little bit. So I think that some of the sharps jumped on the point spread, and but we have a lot of people hitting that Texas Longhorn money line. So it's kind of where we're at.
So it sounds like there's not a lot of, oftentimes, you know, professional bettors will look at, if the public is overwhelmingly on one side, then the professional bettors will go to the other because the public is almost always wrong, which is why there are these big hotels and things in Las Vegas, right? Because if the boys in Vegas lost consistently, those things wouldn't be there. Oh, a missed throw allows the Dodgers to put somebody on base with 2 outs in the top of the ninth. All right. Let's go to so other games this weekend. Tom, if you had one, oh, by the way, last night I was on the Saints losing that game big. I mean, I wish. Tell me this, Scott. If I went into a sports book and I said, okay, it says right now the Saints are plus 3.5. Mm-hmm. I want to bet on the Saints plus. I want to bet on the Broncos minus 17. Is there a way to do that?
Some books do have alternate lines where they will keep pushing the point spread farther and farther and farther out, and they'll adjust the payouts on that. Our book, we don't have that, but especially some of the ones that are more app based, and your offshore accounts, they kind of have those a little bit more. But they're
Well,
typically,
which is not legal in Washington State.
yeah, I'm just saying that's where they exist. I'm not saying you should do it,
Right.
but that's called the alternate line.
But I bet if you walked into a sports book in Vegas and said, I've got 10 grand, I want to bet on this team, because like I would have, if I had the opportunity, Tom, I would have bet maybe 14, maybe as high as 17 points against the Saints in the game on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, you would have gotten great odds on that too.
Yeah,
and I would have felt very good about it.
We'll always find a way to take your money, Loud.
Okay, one way or another.
That's why they didn't let you.
We'll figure it out.
And
okay.
every sports book will have teaser picks. So teasers are usually 6.5, 7 points. Now those have to be a parlay, so you have to pick at least 2 teams. But every sports book always has teasers. So if you're looking to adjust that point spread a little bit, you can do it that way as well.
All right, so let's talk about the NFL this weekend. We talked about the early game. Tom, what else on the slate are you really focused on? Let's talk about the 1 p.m., 10 a.m. games.
Yep. So, yeah, I have no interest in the early game, the London game. 2 bad teams, like you always say. You don't want to mess with the bad teams. But there is one game that interests.
Let's reiterate that. 2 bad teams playing each other, you have no idea what's going to happen, especially if it's Thursday Night Football or it's in some other country. By the way, the Mets just closed that game out, so we're going to game 6. All right. Go ahead, Tom.
All right. Yeah, so I think the biggest game in that slate is the Detroit Lions versus the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings are at home. They're 5-0. They're 5-0 ATS. Lions are 4-1 ATS. Hutchinson is hurt for the Lions. So,
no. Let's be clear. He's not hurt. He broke both bones in his lower leg, and had surgery immediately. He's gone for the season.
Yeah, he's done. He's finished. So we really don't know how this defense is going to look after that. We know Minnesota has been strong on offense. Detroit, on the other hand, has been really strong on offense as well. I think they're going to want to try to run the ball. It's kind of tough to do against Minnesota's defense, but their secondary is kind of questionable. So I think they're going to have success passing against them. On the Viking side, I think they're going to try to bring pressure to Goff. I don't know if that's going to be successful because every season he seems to get better when the pocket closes in. But I know it's a division game, but I think this one goes over as well.
Okay. Scott, what are you seeing in the action on that game?
It's favoring Detroit right now. About 60-40, both point spread and the money line ticket count handle. So not, people are probably, I think, are just a little more comfortable with Detroit this year after last year than Minnesota. So you just kind of see that betting trend. Ticket count on the over is pretty high, but the handle is kind of split down the middle. So maybe have some sharp, heavy action coming in on the under a little bit. So that's where that game's going, but has lines moved a little, but not much. The Tennessee Buffalo game and that Raiders Rams game is where we saw the line really take some big moves from the beginning.
All right,
of the
so
week.
walk us through that. What happened since the open on both those?
Let's see. Buffalo, Tennessee moved 2.5 points, and that Rams Raiders that moved 3 points. So you just see that people have.
And tell us what direction and what happened.
So Rams favored by 4, moving to 7. Buffalo, favored by 7, going to 9.5 now. So it's people liked that early line, and now it's kind of going the other way.
All right, Tom, your thoughts?
What's Buffalo? So Buffalo's 9.5 now.
Yeah, they're at 9.5, minus 9.5.
Wow.
I mean, I kind of feel like this can be a breakout game for them. Will Levis may not be playing, which I don't know if that's better or worse for the Titans. But like you said, it's tough to back the Titans. I've backed them, I think, 3 times this season. Went 1-2. I can't back them anymore. I'd go all the way up to, I don't know, minus 11 Buffalo. I think they have a big game.
All right, so if we look at some of the early games, Seattle Seahawks, this game opened minus 2.5 Falcons with the Seahawks going in there. I'm in the Pacific Northwest. The Seahawks are totally overrated. I'm sorry. They should not be plus 2.5. They should be plus 6 in this game. As far as I'm concerned, that would be a more appropriate line. I love the Falcons in that game. Tennessee Titans, Buffalo Bills. I'm seeing Bills minus 9. With the Titans going to the Bills, my lean is towards Buffalo minus 9 in that game. And then in another early game, Bengals Browns. Bengals minus 6, Browns plus 6. I don't trust the Bengals minus much of anything. Tom?
Yeah, I agree with you. And actually, the Browns have had the Bengals number lately. They played really well against them. So that's another one with, like, can the number get high enough that you want to back the Browns? And maybe it can. If I could see a 8.5, I might think about it. But yeah, Bengals, we don't know. The Browns may be able to score on the Bengals.
Raiders, Rams. We have a Rams. We have a Rams fan who runs this show, which is Christian Giordani. Does anybody know, Christian, when are Puka and Kupp coming back?
So Cooper Kupp is looking to be able to come back by this game in Week 7. It's not confirmed anything yet. It's looking very optimistic. And Puka Nacua is looking more towards Week 15 later in the season. Maybe if we're lucky, towards Week 11, Week 12.
Man, still Rams minus 7 against the Raiders. That's not a game I'm interested in. Panthers against the Commanders. This game opened minus 8. It's now minus 9.5. It's at home for the Commanders. Oh, Wes, I'm so tempted to back the Commanders in this game because the Panthers are so bad and the Commanders have looked so good. What do you think?
We have a lot of people in our book that have been betting the Commanders. People, I think they're starting to be the new public team. You know, the way they see that.
That tells me I'm wrong.
So, yeah, I mean, but then again, maybe Jaden Daniels is the new Dan Marino. So who knows, right?
Well, he doesn't yell at his offensive linemen, so I'm not sure if he's the new Dan Marino. Kansas City Chiefs, San Francisco 49ers. 49ers minus 1. They're at home. I believe the 49ers win this game, and here's why. Because the Chiefs would be willing to lose this game to the 49ers when it doesn't matter. Tom?
Yeah, I guess so, but the Chiefs don't lose to the 49ers. Whether it's a regular season game, playoffs, Super Bowl, it doesn't matter. I kind of want to take San Francisco, but my brain's saying Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid off a bye.
That's tough. Beating Andy Reid off a bye is a tough task. I do remember that. Jets and Steelers. Let's be clear. Aaron Rodgers freaking brand is on the line now. He killed the coach. He brought in his guy. They are playing against the Steelers. If the Jets don't win this game, how bad is that, Tom?
They're probably not making the playoffs if they don't win this game, but it's not easy to go into Pittsburgh and win a game. I guess this one all depends on me who's the starting quarterback for the Steelers. Russ Wilson. Yeah, that's confirmed.
Yeah, Wilson's confirmed.
Yeah, I kind of feel like this guy's going to be rusty. Pittsburgh's offensive line is hurt. I think it'd be better. Justin Fields can move around the pocket. He can scramble if he wants to. I don't know that Russ could do that. On the other side, I don't know how good the Jets defense is. We always talk about how good it is. I think they're a little bit overrated. I don't know. I don't think the offense is good either. Rodgers is getting old. He can't move it.
1 minute.
And
All right.
I don't know. I like the under.
I feel like in both those games, the 49ers and the Steelers game, whatever happens, you look at yourself and you go, I knew that was going to happen.
All right, we're running out of time. Tom Macrina, where can people find your picks and your information?
Yeah, you can find me on social media at Rycape, WRYCAPE, and you can find all my picks at Winners and Winers.
Scott?
I'm in the book. $2 beers Friday and Saturday.
There
Anybody
you
come
go.
on in.
Christian, take us out.
Everyone, this has been Steerline. You'll see us next week for NFL Week 8 NFL analysis.